Hello guys, today we're going to actually purchase the Doodly software and set it up on our computers or PC. Then we'll see some of the basic functions, and after that we'll look at some of the sources of copyright-free images and other assets like background music and sound effects. So I think you should just Google Doodly, because if you go to their site, their proper site now, which is that Voomly, um, this Voomly.com/Doodly, what they want to offer you is their Voomly online package, cloud package, which tries to give you access to most of their apps, but then you have to be paying a monthly fee or a yearly fee. So I don't think you want that. So what we're trying to do is to use their special lifetime offer. So just Google Doodly and then go to the special lifetime offer and you see it, so that you only pay this $67 one-time fee and you have access to their Doodly standard forever. Anyway, that's so they advertise. All right, so once you click it, it will bring you to their sales page. You don't have to start going through the page anymore, because I've already explained that in the previous video. If you haven't, you can watch that video, and then you click on order now. When you click on order now, it will bring you to the payment page. You see it calls it one-time price, no monthly fees forever. So here you enter your details, your billing address for the card you're going to use. Then you use your card number. Once you use your card number, you see the amount is here, $67. It calls it a Doodly standard one time. So once you do that, you submit. Ensure you put your email address here, so that they send it to your email, because they'll send you your username. They'll send you your login details to your email address. So once that happens, I think from there you see the download link also from your email address, the email they'll send you, and from there you can download the software. So once you have, because I've already gotten my own copy of the software, I don't need to go through this process. So when you open the software after downloading it from the link they'll send to you in your email, you'll see a page like this, because it's actually a desktop, an online software. So what it means basically is you can't use it without internet. So most times you will need your internet to use the software, but you download the desktop client that launches the software, and it's inside it that you actually do all you need to do. But you remember you need internet connection for it. So you enter your email and the password, which they must have shown you, which they must have sent to you in the email. And then once you do that, you're good to go. You're logging in. All right, so these are some of my own projects. You can see the first video I made it from here also. These are some of my projects. So here you can create. These are some of their offers. This one is Doodle Enterprise. You want to switch up from the standard to enterprise. This is for Doodly Rainbow, so that most of the images you have you'll have them in colors, but it's not necessary, because we're going to find the source for. We're going to find ways to get colored images if we want, without having to pay for this. So then you have this Toonly, their partner app for making lightweight animations. Yeah. Voomly, I think, is for selling online courses and all that. Tokia is their text-to-speech software. But again, most of these things you don't really need to. You don't need them. So what we need is the standard, which we purchased. And with that, you can come here and click on create new video. You select what kind of background you want your video to have: whiteboard or chalkboard or glassboard. It's going to make it look transparent. And then custom is you select any color you want. So let me just select a color. Let's go with this light green. Well, let's look for something a bit brighter. And then you select the resolution you want it to have. Depending, you can go for 1080p or for 720p, but then you see the size specification, the height, the width. So the width usually comes first when it comes to screen orientation. The width comes first, and then the height goes after that. So you can select whatever you want. For optimal preview, you can go for this, but sometimes 480 can serve you, 720 can serve you. The higher the resolution, the higher the size of your file. So for the purpose of this, we'll just go for 720. You see here. So to constrain aspect ratio, this is only when you want to use custom. If you use custom, you remove this constraint aspect ratio when you want to give it. You want the freedom to create, because usually there's a kind of ratio they used to give you your width. They give you usually there's a constant ratio that your screen height and width has to maintain. So if you want to do away with that restriction, you uncheck this constraint aspect ratio, and then you can set whatever you want to use as your specification. So before, if I constrain it, the more I increase this, the other one will increase. If I increase width, height will increase in proportion. Notice it. But if I uncheck this constraint, then I can go ahead and increase without the other one being affected. So I can set them individually. I can decide to set this for 200 or and make this one even 400 if I so choose. You see, and as immediately I'm doing it, it's showing you in real time here how it's going to look. So let's say this is particularly good if you are trying to make a video that is suitable for mobile phones, maybe TikTok videos. You can usually make the height more than the more than the width. So like I can say this one 200, then I can call this one 600, or I can make it 300, you know, or 250, 350 rather. Right. So that's that. So once you select your aspect ratio, but you don't have to use this. So we'll just go with one of the predefined ones already. Then you select the title of your video. You can just say tutorial and create. If you hit create, it opens up your workspace for you. So snap to grid. Here you see snap to grid. It means when you're placing an object, it tries to maintain one of these grids. You're saying it tries to align it to grid. You can hide the grid. You can show the grid. I think it's good for alignment if you want to make sure you get a good, you know, your scenes have a good appearance. So here you can repeat some of those settings. You can choose the hand you want to draw for you, draw your images. You can choose any of the hands you want. Then you can choose whether it's going to be chalk or marker. So depending on what you choose, I like to go with marker. You can choose whether the person will be left-handed or right-handed, all that. You can still change the title here or the custom color of your background. Then here is where you select the end of your video, whether your video should end immediately the animation of the pictures end, or whether you should wait. Maybe if your audio is longer than your animation, then you don't want the video to end immediately the animation ends. Then you can select this option so that it has to wait for the sound to also end before the video will end. So usually I go for that. And then here you can select the kind of scene transitions you want. Some of them will make it look like they are pictures that you're flipping through. Swipe to the left like that. This other one will swipe it to the right. This one will give you a transition swiping to the left. This one will make it seem like it's swiping up. Okay, we'll see more of that later. Okay, so here you can actually set subtitles for your scenes. So it's good to enable autosave because you want your files to save in case your device goes off suddenly. Once we're here, our workspace, these are our tabs for voiceovers, for background music or sound effects, for our pictures. And this is for camera settings. Maybe you want to pan your camera around the images to give it this effect of live video recording or something like that. So when you come to the top of this place, you see scenes. So you can actually select scenes. Maybe the idea of beach. You can drag it to your scene, your workspace here. So this one has already combined different elements for you, right? So you don't have to. So let's say you want to make a show, say something about the scene or make an illustration of a scene. You can actually use this already made scene. There are also other scenes. You can have the school. Because I placed that, it automatically removed the other one. So you can have a school scene if you want. So there are different scenes down here, but there are not so many of them also, because remember, we're using the standard version. So usually once you get to the base, it loads to show you more scenes. You go down. So once it stops giving you new ones, that means you've gotten to the end of the scenes you have in your package. Right? So these are for scenes. These are for characters. Some of these ones you're seeing are the ones I downloaded from the sources I'll show you. So these are some of the characters you see. Like scenes also, when I get to the bottom of the toolbar, on the scroll bar, to show me more. So you can select different characters you want, or you can add one of your own. So if you downloaded an image, you can just click this plus sign and you browse your files to locate the image you want and click continue. Then it will upload that image and add it to this area. So most of these pictures I downloaded them. So let's say for the purposes of our illustration, we want to add maybe Aline. Say Aline is talking about schools. Yeah. So then we can click on this is for props. So these are where you find props. Again, most of the files here, some of the files here I added them from I downloaded them and added them to the software. So the good thing is that because it's an online software, even if you change PCs, these files are saved to your account, because everything you do it online. So let's say we want to him to say something about education and how it can help one generate more wealth. We can just add this box of coins to show that. Of course, you can see this doesn't really match, because now it stands in stark difference. So, but you could use that if it works for you. If you like it, you can use that. It's your choice. So anyway, the point is just that. So now you can add text from here. You click on this other tab here. You add text. So you drag the text, the font type for your text. You drag it here. You bring it here, and double click on it. It opens this dialog box for you to. Sorry, oops. Yeah, it opens this dialog box for you to put your text. You can say education helps prepares a whole generation for wealth generation, for productivity. Right? Education prepares a whole generation for productivity. Once you're done, we click on done. So you see our text is so big, it actually leaves the screen. So what I like to do is, if I click on it again, I try to break down the text so that it can actually appear on the screen, because the longer it is, the more it will go off. So with this, you can increase the size here by dragging on these arrow keys. Then here you can format your text to make it align in the middle, or to the left, or to the right. And you can also mirror it. Okay, this works better for images. So let's say this image, for instance, we want it to flip to the other side. You click on the flip sign above the image. Once you select it, click on the flip sign. Sorry, you click on the flip sign. This other one is to bring it forward or bring it backwards. So in the order here, what I've done is, you see, when you select bring forward or bring backwards, it actually switches the order of the items. So it sends this one backwards in terms of the sequence of playing showing the assets. So I can do bring forward and bring it downwards. So that it's the last thing, but I want it to be behind the text. Yeah, I like it here, so that it comes after he says that. So now we have we have a small scene. We can add background sounds here. You can choose a full song. You can choose sound effects from here. You can have sound effects from here. You can also select the background music. So this is like, this is a baseball sound. So we can go for any sound we want. So let's say this is the sound we want. If this is the sound we want, we can select it here and bring it down to the music tab. So now we have our music here. When you select it, you drag it and make sure you notice the green moving. So that's you're actually placing it where you want it to start. So but I want it to start from the beginning, so I move it to the end. You drag it, you click and hold, then you can drag it around. You can even put it on another lane for the voiceover. If you so choose, let's say you recorded your voice outside the software, you can just import it with the plus icon on the screen, the blue plus icon here, and then import your own sound and drag it the way we drag this one down to this place. So you can select it here, you can keep it here. Yeah. So you can also add another track. Let's say you want more than one. You can add, let's say you have different sound effects, you can add one. Let's say I can decide to use this one for my background music and use the second one as my sound. So let me look for sound effects. Let me look for maybe coin sound. It doesn't have coin sound. Let me look for let me look for bell sound. Service bell. All right. Again, you can always get your own sound. So here we go. I can use this one for my sound. So let's say by the time the image drops, I want my sound to the bell sound to also play at that time, so that's to add effect to it. So now I have my scene ready. I want to know if things are actually the way I want them. So duration is how long it will take the hand to draw the image. If you don't want it to be drawn, you put it on 0 seconds. That would ensure that everything, that this particular item would already be on the screen. or it will just appear. It doesn't have to be drawn. But once you add any unit here, that means it's going to be drawn. So the lower the time it takes, the faster it takes the hand to draw it. So if you increase the duration, the hand will take its time drawing it, right? And then the delay is for how long. Let's say after this one appears, I want the school to take a while to appear. I can put delay. And that means that after drawing this first one, it will take 1 second. There will be a 1 second delay before this other assets is drawn on the screen. So we can preview now. Click here for preview to see our scene. And we're done. As you can see, our music is still playing, but our animations are finished. But the video is not going to go off. It's not going to stop. It's not going to end because the video is not going to end because, as you can see, we still have lots of the song, of the background music left. So it's not going to stop until it plays the whole song. So you don't want that. And I also noticed that the clink, the bell sound didn't actually come when I wanted it. So I'm going to go back to listen to the sound and know whether I'm going to move it forward. I'm going to check whether I'm going to move it forward or backwards. Okay. It came too early, so I'm going to move it backwards a little bit. A little bit forward, so I'll move it back a little bit too. I want it to move backwards a little bit, so I'll move it. Nice, but maybe a little bit. Yeah, I like it like this. So another thing, let's say we have another scene, and we can just take a random character and add here. Anya. We can put Anya here. Let me see if there's a door. This is a door I actually downloaded. Okay, this one is in the software. Most of these black and white ones are in software already. So let me use this door because it seems to align with Anya's hand. So I want to use it. So I can flip it to make it appear to be in front of Anya. Yeah. So let's say we want to say, to him who knocks, it shall be open unto them. Yeah, if you notice, immediately he played the other scene, it quickly jumped to the next one. And if you notice the transition, he actually swiped it upwards. So this is the importance of this scene transition. You can actually swipe, you can actually select where you want it to, the scenes to be swiped to the left or right or up or downwards. You can use this swipe mix. So I can swipe some to the left, some to the right. This camera panning, it doesn't work so well. So I wouldn't recommend you use it, but you could try just to see how it works. So usually if you want to keep it more interesting, it's good to go for mixed, so that the random factor makes it, keeps your audience actually interested, because it keeps them guessing. They don't know how it's going to go the next time. So all right, so with that, you click apply. Now if you watch it again, you see the transition will actually be different from you see the transition will actually be different from swiping to the left, from that swiping up. It will change this time. See, swiped it to the left. So that's how it works. Now I want to, let's say I don't want this next scene to come immediately. Let's say after drawing the character, that I actually want to, you can just click on these numbers here directly to bring you to a part of your project you want. You want to see what's happening at that particular point. So this is actually where the transition takes place, this area. So now, let's say I don't want this scene to move. Maybe I have some more things to say that are still concerned, that's still part of this scene. How do I make it last longer so that it doesn't just swipe away once it's done with the drawing, this drawing here? So I can come to that, I click on that particular scene. Right now it's on Anya's own, so any settings I make here will happen to this Anya's scene. So I want the other scene, so I click on it first. You must make sure you click on it, this actual scene. You see this line here, it actually separates the scenes for you. So always make sure you're on the right scene. So when I click on this one, it goes to Anya. You see the line? It's almost hard to see, but there's a line here. You see the arrow showing you there's a line there. So you select the first scene so that the settings you make, the changes you make to the scene will actually apply to only this one. So I go to scene settings, and this is extra time at the end, right? So I want this scene to actually last longer, so maybe by 3 seconds. So I can add extra 3 seconds to it. I click on, because it was already on 0.5, so by adding 3 seconds, I added extra 3 seconds to the time to take for the scene to actually be swiped off the screen. So with that selected, now this is for the subtitles. Let's say you want the subtitle to appear on your video. Click on apply. So this is what I want. I'll play it again, and you see it takes a while. I'm going to increase the tutorial. I'm going to increase the preview now so that you can see it. All right, so if you notice the video was kind of laggy, so you may experience that if you click on this main preview button, because that one gives you a bigger screen for preview. So I find it's easier to use the smaller one because it's hard for it to be laggy. So I only use the bigger one. So I use the small one as I work. I only use the other one when I'm done. But most times it's laggy. It depends on your system's processing power anyway. Maybe mine is not so powerful, that's why. So there's something I want to say though. If you are applying any changes to the durations here, most times, let's say you are working on this second scene and you make changes to this timeline, this duration of this particular one. Remember that it affects everything. So if for any reason, see where it ends now, right? See where it starts. The scene, this particular scene starts here. It starts here, and it stops here. So if I make any changes to the duration of any of the assets in this scene, it automatically affects the whole duration of the track and the way it goes. So let's say I reduce it by even 0.5 seconds. You see, the duration draws back. If I increase it, it moves. Now, it's always good to know. Let's say you feel like this door, you don't want it to take that long to be drawn, maybe because of the voicing. You want it to match the voicing. If you reduce it, and you're only interested in making the video, remember it was on 3 seconds, and you're only interested in making the duration of the door reduce. Try and make up for that time lost, that time reduction, make up for it with the other assets in the video. So let's say I still want it to stop here, but I don't want the door to take as long as 3 seconds. What I can do is reduce this one by maybe 2 seconds. Now it's 1 second. And that 2 seconds I removed from this door, I try to add it to Anya. 2 seconds, making her as 5 instead of 3, so that the scene will still stop at that same point. So if you've already worked on your scene 2 and maybe aligned your voice sound effects, let's say this service bell was actually at Anya's side, right? If you change anything in this scene, you know that it will likely change the dynamics of when this doorbell sound comes into play. So you always have to be mindful of these things, because this thing can be very frustrating if you're working on a very big project and then you actually make some of these minor changes and it affects the flow of your whole project. So for that reason, what I would advise is you can have all your scenes separated. If you want to work on any scene, keep it separate. For instance, if you're working on a full project like this one, you can have this first scene separate. When you are done with this first scene, let me remove this, minimize this. You can have this one. Once you are done with this scene, try and export it. Right? Try and export the scene separately. Save it as a separate video. Export it, keep it aside. Then start the second scene, so that whatever you have done in the first scene stays intact. If you need to make changes, you just open the project file of the first scene. You can call it scene 1, maybe tutorial scene 1. So that whatever changes you make to it, you want to make to, you can always come back and make it, and it won't affect other scenes that follows after that first one. Because if for any reason now, you've already set where the doorbell will sound for Anya's scene, right? You set the doorbell and everything. You come here, click on this scene, and go and alter any of the durations, the duration of any of the assets in this particular scene. It will affect the flow of the entire project, and you end up messing up the flow of the project for Anya's scene. Right? So I will always advise you prepare your scenes separately so that you don't mix things up. Yeah. So next, I'm going to show you how to get the copyright-free images and other assets. All right. So when we come to our browser, we'll go to, let's say we are looking for an image of uh, friendship. I can just Google friendship. So what we want to do is click on this software here. We'll click on images first. Click on images. So we want to see pictures, because in Doodly you're not restricted to vector images. So here there are two kinds of images, right? This one now, this kind of image is a bitmap image. These are the kind of images that are made up of pixels. So the problem with them is if you zoom them, they become pixelated, like they become blurry, because they are not meant to be zoomed that much. So there's softwares like maybe Photoshop, they make raster images. Raster images, let me just find something that will show you the example very well. Raster versus vector images. Yeah, this is a perfect example. So let's say you designed an image like this. Let's say you went to Photoshop and you painted this kind of V shape and an S shape. It creates a raster image for you. If you zoom it, it may be this bright when you start out, but if you start zooming it, it's going to become blurry. But if you create a vector image, and let's say you input text V and S, even if you zoom it to put it on the biggest screen in the world, it can't become blurry, because the software actually records it as a mathematical equation. So no matter how much you increase it, it can always replicate, right? It can always replicate the whole thing, and it's not going to become blurry. So here you can see the information. Raster and vector images are created. Raster images are created with pixel-based software or captured with the camera or scanner. So any picture you snap, any picture you snap, anything you scan, or if you work on softwares like Photoshop, you create raster images. They become, because they are pixel-based. If you zoom them, they lose their quality. They are common in general, such as JPGs, GIF, PNG, and are widely used on the web. Vector graphics are math-defined shapes created with vector software and are not as common, used in CAD or engineering, 3D animation, and in graphic design for processes that reproduce an image on an object without ink or paint, such as engraving, etching, cut stencils. So if you use softwares like I think Illustrator, creates vector images. And if you use CorelDRAW, so I think CorelDRAW also creates vector images. Inkscape, or there also. So this is another sample of it. If you zoom, it becomes blurry. But this one, even when you zoom, this is what it gives you. This one looks blurry a little bit already. So when you zoom, you see it becomes really pixelated. But this one, because it's vector based, even if you zoom it, it's still very clear. So that's why, because your video, you never know where your videos will be displayed on. It's always good you go for vector images. Even though you can use pictures, images, JPGs, vector, raster images on Doodle, it's not a problem. It's not like it won't accept it. It will, but the problem is if you, let's say for instance, your video is now played on a huge device, on a huge screen, it's almost likely to become pixelated. So let's say go for friendship again. Friendship. Click it. So these are all pictures. So what we want to do is come to tools. That Google chat search, come to type. You can choose any type for now, depending on what you want to use. We want to go for Creative Commons licenses. So you can click this, and it will show you images that are on Creative Commons. Now, most of these images, you're allowed to use them because they are under the Creative Commons license. You're allowed to use them with some conditions. Some will say use an attribute. Some will say use modify. You can use them, you can modify them. Some will say use but not for commercial purposes. Some will say, so there are different kinds of licenses you see. Let me open something on it so you understand what I'm saying. Let's say we have common licenses, Creative Commons licenses. Okay, I'm check different Creative Commons licenses. Okay, so there are six different Creative Commons licenses. CC BY, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Okay, yeah. So these are the different licenses. This is by means attribution. Others can copy. You can copy it. You can distribute it. You can display it. You can perform and remix the work. That you can even modify the image, if, but so long as you credit the creator's name. So usually those images will show you how to. They'll give you a requirement of how you should attribute the image in your video or web post or anything you want to use the image for. This one is non-derivative. Non-derivative works allow you to only copy, distribute, display, or perform verbatim copies of the creator's work. You can't modify the images. So you're allowed to. So, but notice that non-derivative is also accompanied by the attribution sign. So that means you must still attribute. So for all of them, in fact, you must attribute. But then this one also adds an additional condition of non-derivative. You are not allowed to modify the work. Then there's share link, SA is share link. Others can distribute the creator's work only under a license identical to the one the creator has chosen for their work. I'm not sure what that one is, so maybe you Google that yourself, sorry. So then there's non-commercial. This one you can copy, distribute, display, perform, and remix the creator's work, but for non-commercial purposes only. The reason why I'm saying this is a lot of times you'll be working with images and sounds, and you don't really want someone to come after you tomorrow. Let's say your video attracts so much views and all that, someone comes after you for copyright problems. And if you are going to offer your skills as a service to someone, it's important you know this thing so that your work doesn't create problems for your clients as well. So this is why I'm mentioning this thing. It's good you know it. So if you come under this search that you've selected the Creative Commons license. When you open an image, let's go to Flickr. I think there's one. Flickr. On particular site I've seen they give you all different kinds of licenses. Okay, let me go to Flickr. So let's say we open this image. Okay, so you can see from this image here, you see there's some rights reserved, which tells you need to find out those rights. So when I open the page, I got this. So this is what the person requires. The creator requires that you attribute the image, the work to them. You must give them appropriate credit. Provide a link to the license and indicate if changes were made. You may do so in any reasonable manner, but not in a way that suggests the license endorses you or your use. No additional restriction. So this is the restriction this creator has actually placed on the use of their own work. So it's important that each one you use, you have to understand this and apply. You apply that appropriately. Apply whatever requirements you need to apply. But I want to show you some sites that actually you don't even need you don't need any attributions when you're using this sites I want to show you now. One of them is on Splash. So on splash.com, sorry. So when we type in friendship, for instance, there are loads of images, loads. So these ones that they're showing browse premium stock images. These ones are actually. Okay, so if you see browse premium images on iStock, these ones are actually redirecting you to another site that you have to pay for the images. But these ones here, these ones in this area actually theirs, so you don't have to pay for it. So in this place, you see license, you see free. You click on free. Shows you that filters the images to show you only the ones that are free to use. So let's say we use this. So this one is that particular image it shows you it says it's licensed under the Unsplash license, and this license shows you what you can do. All photos can be downloaded and used for free. Commercial and non-commercial purposes, you're free to use it for either of them. No problem, no permission needed. You don't need attribution. Though attribution is appreciated, so they would love it if you attribute the work to them, but you're not required to. What is not permitted? Photos cannot be sold, so you're not permitted to sell it without significant modification. So if you must sell it, you must make it so that it looks way different from what it used to be. Compiling photos from Unsplash to replicate a similar or competing service. So you don't go and open maybe a website where you also allow people to download pictures and use them for this kind of things, because they're already in the business. So doing that, if you start compiling their pictures to use for your own website for similar purposes, is not really good for their business. So that's why this one is one of their restrictions. So you can actually click on the image and download it for free. So we're going to use 2 samples. So I'm downloading this one so that we can save it also and use it for our sample. Okay, downloaded. And now I want to close some of the stuff so that my system will not be hanging on me. So another site that I really use a lot is Pixabay, pixabay.com. And a beautiful thing I love about Pixabay is that they have so much. As you can see, they have videos, they have music, they have sound effects, they have vectors, they have illustrations and all that. So you have loads of assets you can get from Pixabay. That's why for me it's my go-to site. You can use their vectors for free. They have loads of assets for you to use. So let's use friendship again, like the other time. Friendship. This time around, I want us to go for a vector image. So once you see the results, you can actually come here and select the kind of image you want, and you see vectors here. Click on vectors. That means all the pictures you will see as your result. Again, this sponsored image is actually adverts, so you don't want to use those ones. But these ones you see royalty-free vectors. So all these ones are vectors. So some of them don't have backgrounds. So when you use these, are very good to use if you don't want the idea of backgrounds in your video spoiling the background you've already set in Doodly. So these ones don't have any background, so they just blend right into your own background in the video. Some of them already have. I think this one has a background, so it will show. Let's say you're using a background different from what is in the picture, it will be obvious. But things like this, they don't have background, so you only see these dogs appear in your own background. So let's say, for instance, let's use this one. You see, you are free to download it. So you select, there are options here. PNG is one of them. But the thing with PNG, remember, it's one of the raster images. So it's possible that if the picture is zoomed so much, it may actually, if the video becomes displayed on a very big screen, it can lose quality. So if you see the option of vector graphics, I always prefer to go for that, except you don't see. So if you see, you click on download. They're saying I should put my login details. So usually it's good to, if I use my Chrome, I'm using Opera now, but if I use Chrome, I sign in automatically so that they always recognize me when I come here. I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to remember my password here. But you can just log in, right? So you can sign in and download the image. Vector graphics, download. So this image was created by Yvette W from Pixabay. So they also have their own license like everyone. Let's see what it says. It says what you're allowed to do with the content. Use content for free. Use content without having to attribute the author, although giving credit is always appreciated by our community. Modify or adapt content into new works. So you see, you can use the content for free. You can even modify it without you don't have to attribute the author, although it's good to, it's always good to attribute an artist for their work. Attribute the work to the creator and all that. What you're not allowed to do, you cannot sell or distribute content either in digital or physical copy on a standalone basis. If content contains any recognizable trademark logos or brands, you cannot use that content for commercial purposes in relation to goods and services. Particularly, you cannot print that content on merchandise or any other physical products. I don't think anybody wants to do that anyway. You cannot use content in any moral or legal way, especially content which features recognizable people. You cannot use content in any misleading or deceptive way. You cannot use any of the contents as part of a trademark, design mark, trade name, business name, or service mark. All right, so I've seen the rights here. You can then go ahead and use the image as specified. So you can copy this. What I do usually, once I'm working, if I download any file, I'll copy this, open a notepad, my notepad, and start saving my attributions. So then what you notice here is, if you copy this other one, you select this copy, because it's better you mark this and copy, then you know this is the actual text you're copying. But if you click copy here, it copies the all. So most times in attributions, you would be required to show the web address. So that copy function now gives you the web address where this image can actually be located. So what I try to do is once I'm working, I try to save any image I use on my scene. I just come and specify what it is here, what image I used, and the web link. So I copy it immediately because it's harder to do so when you're done working. So that way you have your reference already lining up. I've downloaded that. Let me also see how we can download a sound. I wanted a coin sound. So let me see if we can see a sound effect of coins. So you see where I went there. So instead of images, I selected sound effects. So if I search for coin, I go to here, the same place, and change it from vectors to, you can use music if you're looking for, searching for background music that is related to coin. Or you can do that for videos and sound effects. But I'm looking for sound effects, so I'll click on sound effects. So I'll now play to see if I like it. Wonderful. So this is the sound I'm looking for. Something like that. Any of that is fine. Oh, I like this cha-ching. Yeah. So you can download that. And again, it shows you, it doesn't really show you the name of the person who provided the sound, but you can just copy sound effect. So here you can just say coin sound. Coin sound effect. On Pixabay. Again, you come and you copy. Okay. And then you paste it all here also. All right. So with that in mind, I want to now create another scene here. Remember what we said, this is me just showing you a demo. It's always good for you to save your scenes separately so that you can always edit them individually without affecting the general flow of things in the timeline. So what I want to do now is bring the image so that we can see how we can use both raster images and vector images here. So it's the same place. I click on browse files. So using the plus sign, I clicked it and then I browse my files. So I go to downloads. And I click on the first image, which is this one. It is the raster. I select it. But I said it's too big. So usually that means you have to go back and select another file. However, there is another way. If you download an image resizer, it comes in handy. So an image resizer. So you can download, I think this one is good. You can download it, and once you install it, then this kind of image now, since it's saying it's too big, it's giving me 10 point something MB. I can actually select, because I've installed the image resize already. I come here and resize picture. See this option, resize picture. So I can change the size of the image so that Ridley can recognize it. So I can choose to go for medium, large, medium. I think large, medium is fine. I click on resize. So now I have two of those. This smaller one is 688 kilobytes compared to the 10,000 something megabyte, 10,000 something kilobytes. So now I'll try again. Browse again. Go for the smaller one. See, max it medium. Makes it easier to recognize. So I now want to change it. I select this, but I want to rename it so that it's easier for me to find the next time that I need to use it. So I can just name it Friends. Now I have this. I can hide preview so that I see my scene better. So with this, drag on the edges here to increase it. You can almost see it losing quality a little bit. Yeah. So you can imagine when we use the bigger screen, it will not be so bright anymore. So I think it's probably good if you're working with a file like this, you zoom it all the way so that your background scene will not, be contrasting to the background of the actual image. So zoom it all the way so that it covers your entire scene. But that's that for raster. Now I'm going to open another scene, and we're going to import our vector picture, which is this other one titled team. So I've selected that. So you see this SVG. extension name, this file name, just like we have MP3, MP4, all those kind of file names, PDF. SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. So usually once you see this SVG, it means you can actually scalable. You can zoom it, you can scale the image without losing quality, without the image losing quality. So again, I'll say friends. That's easy for me to find. I'll say group of friends. All right. Now use this one. Now it doesn't matter how much I zoom it. It's not ever going to lose quality. Never, ever, ever. So that's that for this. But I want to do something because this one is an actual picture. It wouldn't make sense for a hand to be drawing it. So I'm going to remove the duration to make it 0. So fortunately for me, I've not set anything. So there's this change in duration is not going to affect anything. So now I want to now try our coin chicken sound. So you can import sounds here. Again, click on the plus sign, browse files, and select our cha-ching sound. Select that coin sound. It's important you name it so that it's easier for you to find it next time you're working and you need to use it again. So I click continue and it adds it here. So for me to use it, I have to also drag it like the other ones and add it to where I want it to be, somewhere here. So now you can see the preview again. So now I'll go all the way back. Yeah. There's another function for the sounds. So you can actually right click on a sound and put fade in. Then you go to the back. If you want it to also fade out so that it doesn't end so abruptly, you put fade out. And you can actually drag this fade out thing to where it starts fading out. You can modify it so that it can start fading out from here and then all the way out. Same for fading. If you click on the file, you can go to this place and adjust, modify the fading the way it actually stops the fade. So now I think I'm okay with my work. I want to export. So I quickly come to, it's always good to save, even though put it on also save. And then I come here to export. I click on export. Now, remember that we set in the beginning that it's not going to, video will not end until the sound ends. So because this file is actually too small, the scene is too small compared to the video sound, what I'll do is I'll want to bring the sound, reduce it, bring it backwards so that it won't just, the video just won't keep us at the last scene for eternity because it's waiting for the song to actually finish, the background music to stop. And somewhere here is fine. At least it's close to the end of our scene. So now we can just preview it one more time. So if I'm okay with my sound, having set everything the way I want it, I can just preview my work one more time to see if I like it. You can also manage the volume here, volume of each track. You can set the volume here. So you can reduce or increase, maybe because you want this one to sound a bit lower than the background music, or if you have voiceover, you want the background music to be lower than the voiceover, you can set it here, maybe increase voiceover. So even though we don't have voiceover in this case, you can just decide to create voiceover. So that's that. Now it's always good you start from all the way, drag it, keep dragging it, start again, drag it to 0 before you export. So some softwares, I don't know, I can't really tell if it does it, but it's a good habit to have. If you want to export, start from the beginning. So that when you export, you select what file format you want: MKV, WebM, OGG, MP4. Now destination shows you where it's going to save on your device. You set that resolution and all that. We've already done this part in this bit in the beginning. So once you set that, you click on continue, and it will export. So now you see it takes so long before it will finish. I'm just going to speed this up so that you see it on the end. Again, if you're not happy with your work, it's good for you to go back to make any final edits before you export again, which is why I think it's good for you to save your scenes separately so that you don't have, once you make a change in one scene, it won't affect your entire workflow. And it's always a good thing to do, because if you eventually upscale to 2D, then it's going to be very important that you know that you try to keep your work and separate your scenes, because a whole lot of times you can have your your file crash or get corrupted. You don't want to lose all your work. It's better to lose one scene than to lose your entire work because you put everything in one file. All right, see you at the end. Okay, here we are. We're done exporting. So I want to see exported video. Of course, the video doesn't make sense. It's not really logical, but it's just a sample. So just so you get a feel of the things you can do in Doodly. So another thing I would like to show us next time is how to pan. How to incorporate camera movement in Doodly. And now you know some of these you can get good assets, so it doesn't really matter that you have a standard version of Doodly. You can actually have access to unlimited assets through some of those sources I showed you. You can also find out some for yourself when you Google and all that. So that's it, guys. That's it for today. Okay, guys. So I would just like to show you how to zoom and pan, so you know this bit about it. So if you come up here to this arrow, yeah, see that? So clicking on this space, you see the sign FX. So for this FX, you can choose to add effect. So this shows you at the start of that particular scene, you unlock the stats so that you can, if you don't unlock it, you can't release it. But if you unlock it, then you can edit this frame. But remember, it will always try to maintain the aspect ratio you set for the video. So you see it's maintaining that shape. So that's something to consider when you're zooming in and out. So you can choose to start somewhere here on the scene. And then you want the video to come towards the guy who will be saying something, and then you apply that. That's for pan. So you can choose to extend how long this effect lasts. So let's say we want it to come towards the end of this, towards the middle of the scene. That's how long we want it to appear. We've set that duration. That's where we drag it to. And then let's review a little bit. So as you can see, it's not really very appealing in the eye, because it keeps the audience away from the whole action happening with the hands. So I want to change that bit. I want to edit it. So that's I double click on it, and then I make the start part. I make the start part show the whole scene. Yeah, and then I click on this one and focus it on the guy. So this is the bit. This is how I want it. So it starts showing the whole scene, and then it ends focusing only on this area. And I click apply. So it changes that. Now let's see it again. Yeah, so that's it, guys, and that will be the wrap up. You can check out more videos on how to make work with Doodly, and go from there. You have the basics you need. All you need to do is to create more contents. The more you do, the more you have ideas, the more you get to think about what you can do with it. There's a lot you can do with it. You can actually come up with different designs for your scene. Using this pan feature, you can give your video a book kind of appearance, and that will work well for you. All right, thank you very much. Bye.